Hello and welcome to another episode of Some Gear, No Idea. So it's been a while since I've posted anything. I've been busy with other things. One of the episodes that I wanted to do was to repair an Apple mouse that I bought, which was this one. And I did some footage of me tearing it down, if I can find it, because it's probably been about three or 4 months. If I can still find the footage, I'll post it. But I started tearing it down, and this particular mouse, it would connect, but there was absolutely no movement. And when I hunted around, I think it was possibly the laser IC here, and I couldn't find another mouse that was, that was broken and wasn't still going for silly money. So I eventually put that to one side, and I found another mouse on eBay, which has got a bit damage, but I'm not too bothered. But in the meantime, my other mouse that I use on my Mac has failed. So what I've decided to do was, rather than just kind of fix this one and start swapping components over, I actually do need a mouse. So this one partially works, but at the moment it just seems to be disconnecting every couple of minutes. Looking at the battery terminals, so this is a Magic Mouse 1, by the way. Looking at the terminals, I'm not sure whether you can see that, but they are a bit iffy. So I'm going to attempt to clean these up, see if that works. The other thing that I could potentially do is, on this other one, the actual terminals on this aren't too bad. So my other idea was to see if I could unsolder the terminals. So let's just separate that off. I don't think I can pull this out without bending these out, but possibly just swapping these, unsoldering these. Now, I haven't actually looked at this possibility as yet, but just pushing these up and getting this board out without damaging it. So I have already had it out a couple of times, to be honest, but I slotted it back together because I wasn't going to use it for a while. So I'm going to get these out, and I'm going to have a look to see what it takes for me to unsolder these to replace them, because I don't think I might just be able to clean that up. I mean, I'm tempted just to take this one apart, give it a clean up, and see what happens. I don't want to damage it too much because I actually want to use. I actually need a mouse to use, so I'll have to decide what to do. It probably needs pulling apart and cleaning, to be fair. I have given it a once over with some isopropyl alcohol, but nothing major. But I think obviously this terminal, so I don't know if it's liquid damage, and maybe I should open it, because if it's liquid damage, then it could have been more on the board, and as soon as I put some more batteries in for any length of time, then it could corrode even more. So I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to check out to see whether these are really bad or worth saving, and maybe it could just be a simple clean-up job, and I get a new mouse. But these seem to go for, still go for, I'd say, decent money for second-hand kit on eBay. So I just bided my time and waited for something that I was prepared to pay for. To see what we get. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this apart, give it a clean, and see where we end up. Okay, so it looks like I've completely butchered this, to be honest. I can't remember how I got the other one apart, but it's in it's not damaged like this one, so I'm just trying. I'm trying to be gentle and take my time, but this is I think this is knackered now. So I mean, luckily I've got a replacement, so I can replace it, so it's not a massive issue. But I just cannot remember for the life of me how I managed to get these out, because there are sort of screws. There's one there, there's one there, and there are some screws underneath, but there's no way I can get a screwdriver in. I must have got this plastic case off prior to unscrewing the board from the aluminum base, and I just can't remember how for the life of me I did it. I mean, when they put it in factory, this obviously must just slot in, but I mean, I could take those two screws out, I suppose, and maybe that'll lift the board up. But it is screwed on. It's screwed further down here, so that's not going to give me the what I need. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to get this off. Like I said, I've done it once, but it's just been that long ago. Okay, well let's just carry on. Let's carry on and see, you know, if I completely butcher it, then, you know, I'm not going to be too upset. Like I said, I have got essentially got a spare, and I can bring these two mice together to create a new whole one. So yeah, let's carry on.
The first words I spoke in the original phonograph, a little piece of practical poetry. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen,
Okay, so I'm going to try and take these off here and put them on to the other board, and then put it back together and see what happens. I'm not confident. I think, to be honest, I've probably butchered this board to bits now. So, but it's all about learning. He who dares wins and all that. So I'm just going to have to see if I can figure out how to do this under the camera. So I'm using this de-soldering tool, which I've had for a while. I'm just hoping that it works. So it's just heating up at the moment. So I'll come back to you when it's hot and ready to rock, and we'll see what we do with it. I'm not expecting great things, to be honest. I think I might have butchered the pair of them, but if I get a working mouse out of it, then I won't be too displeased. But you know, let's see what happens. Yep, this is heating up now. It won't be a couple of minutes, and this should be hot enough then to try and pull some of this solder off here. I'll try and do this around the camera, which is it's not easy. There's a camera in the way. Yeah, so that's heating up now. So I'm just going to put some solder on the end. Right, so I'm going to try and do this on camera. Whether or not I succeed, don't know, never done it before. But let's have a go. So you put it on, let it melt the solder, give it a little wiggle and suck. And do the same here. Let melt the solder. And do the same here. What we might have to do is just still wick it up, but if I can get most of it off and just wick the rest, then that might be a win. So I can't actually see very well. So I'm going to put that to one side, and I'm going to move this just up to my eyes and see where we stand. Right, it's got some off, but not everything. So what I need to do is see if I have any wick in my drawers. So what I'm going to do is on this board here, I'm just, in fact, actually, while I think on, I'm just going to unplug. I'm just going to unplug that iron because it's not needed. So I'm going to put a bit of stuff on here, and I'll stick a bit on here just to help it float. And I'll turn on my iron, let that heat up for a second. The tip might not be the best one that I've got for this, but we'll see what happens. Thing is, I'm not in any particular rush to get this repaired. It's only for me. My other mouse is still working at the moment, so, well, you know, I'll do it for the moment anyway. So I'm not in any particular rush. So I'll come back to you when the soldering iron's heated up, and we'll see where we go from here. I'm gonna put just a dab of solder on this iron because it's not been used, and then we'll just clean it. And then a touch more. See if I can see what that's done. Oh, I can see this being a bit of a pain, to be honest. And I don't think this is very good. Like I said, I did have some, I thought, well, I'm pretty confident I had some of the good stuff. I think I'm sure it's called Goop Wick or something like that, something along those lines anyway. And I've used it before. It could still be in the drawers and the other location, so maybe I shall try and move it. Okay, so that's not working. I should disappear for one moment just to see whether I can check a couple of sets of drawers, just to see whether I've got any. Otherwise, I'll have to think of something else. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've managed to get one off. I had to do it off camera because I just couldn't see looking into the camera. So I've managed to get one off. I'm going to try and get the other one. If it wasn't pretty, but it's off anyway. So I'm going to try for the other one. Like I said, unfortunately, I've got to do it off camera. I just can't see. The camera's in the way. So I'm going to get this one off and try again. Okay, so managed to get these two off the old board. They look pretty intact, so I'm going to clean them up and I'm going to transfer them to what's essentially the new board, and hopefully that'll solve the problem. The worrying kind of part is obviously these things are glued together, so I need to figure out a way to glue it, and I just don't know whether I can just use something simple like double-sided sticky tape or whether that will work. Now I have got some, it's like an industrial version of double-sided sticky tape, so I'm going to try that and see what we go. So I'm going to get the other ones off, put it all together and see where we go. Again, unfortunately I'll have to do it off camera because I just can't I can't see, so I'll come back to you when I've managed to get it resoldered. Okay, so what I've managed to do now is I've only swapped the one. I was going to swap them both, and I looked at the other one and I thought, do you know what, it's actually not too bad. So I've only swapped one of them. I've given it a wipe over. I'm going to let the IPA just flash off a little bit, and then it's back to essentially construction time, and see what we can do to put this thing back together. Whether it works or not is a different matter. So that will sit in there and be screwed back in. I will give this a clean out, and it will go on the base. Top goes on, batteries go in, and we'll give it a test. So I'm just going to clean this out, and it's still quite sticky, but I don't think it's going to last. So I'm going to give this a clean out, put it all together. I think the difficulty is going to be getting this back in, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to achieve that yet. So that will be some monkeying around. Now, whether I have to do it off like that and then I'm able to slot it all together, I honestly don't know. I mean, in theory it's supposed to be the reverse, but I don't know is the honest answer. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to put these together. I'm going to clean up this base. I'm going to put some sticky, double-sided sticky tape around here to see what happens, and hopefully it'll work. If not, I'll have to think of something else. But yeah, when you come, what I'll do is I'm going to clean this up without, not on camera because it's pretty boring. But what I'll do is I'll time lapse putting it all together, and then hopefully at the end I can give it a test and report back that it's working. But let's see. Now I'm wondering at this point whether I should just test it to see whether it actually switches on or not. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't, but I am tempted just to throw a couple of double A's in and see what happens, because otherwise I'm going to put it back together and it's not going to work. So I'll find a couple of random batteries and we'll see what happens. It should have flashed off by now, so all being well. I don't know if these batteries are dead actually. They could well be. Right, I'm gonna have to disappear and find off some batteries. I've got a sneaking suspicion that they're dead. I shall come back shortly. So now I've just got to figure out how to best get this in here, and I honestly don't know the answer to that. I mean, I don't know if it's better to put that on and then stick this down, but again, it's just trying to get that in there. Maybe in hindsight being a wonderful thing. Again, trying to do this with a camera in the way. I'd love to know how they do these things in the factories, you know. I'm just, you know, I'm mindful that I just don't want to damage it, because once it's damaged, that's it. Then it's a proverbial game over. And there's not enough pressure just to push it in. It needs something. You know, I'm just trying to be really careful, because once this goes, that's it. Then I've had it. I mean, the mousey bit will still work, and you know, but you're not going to have the touch element, which again, I'm not. I wouldn't be too upset as long as it clicks. You know. But in fact, I don't want to do that, do I? Because if I put this in here without this on, then I want to be in a whole world of pain. So that needs to be on. So if you're following along, don't put that on without that on. This unfortunately might have to be one of those where I have to try and do it off camera, because I'm struggling to see. So I think that's what I'm gonna have to do, unfortunately, is bring it more towards my eyes so I can see. So I'll come back if I manage to do it, or in fact I'll come back if I don't, because the chances are I'll leave it off, and as long as I've got a clicky mouse, then you know, I'm not too concerned about having the touchy part. So let me try and get it together. Okay, so sit rep, if you will. We now have I put together working Apple Magic Mouse. I won't lie, it was a nightmare to get the little ribbon cable back in. There was absolutely no way that I could have done it on camera, but you know, it's back together, and it's I have tested it and it's working. The touch does work. The click, both clicks, the left and right click, work. I used double-sided sticky tape, which is it's this a big roll, a big industrial style that I had, and so far it's stuck it down. It's not perfect. You know, this is clearly used. There's no way I could sell it, but it's clean and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I'm chalking that up to a win. These are the rails. So these are the plastic, I don't know what you'd call them, rails I suppose, that glide along the surface. These were an absolute nightmare, because, you know, I don't think that they're meant to go back in again. Once they're in, they're in. But what I ended up doing was keeping the two little tabs off, but just cutting these off and pushing them in, and they've stayed in. What I could do is I could just drop a small dab of super glue if they did come off, but I mean, I've got these as spares now. So over all in all, I'm happy with the way that it's turned out. There is something definitely wrong with this GoPro. There's it keeps turning off for whatever reason. I'll just try and get this last little bit in. As you might be able to see, you can see it flashing. It's definitely powered up. Unfortunately, I haven't got a screen down, but it's connected. It's connected to the Mac, and everything's working okay. So I'm going to chalk that up to a win. Put the light back on. I'm going to chalk that up to a win, I think. Let's see what this comes together like in when I edit the thing together. I'm not sure what's going on with this camera. It wasn't cheap, and the SD card that's in it wasn't cheap either. But for some reason, it's not very stable. It just keeps dropping and saying it's repairing the file. So something else that I need to look at. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you've got this far, hopefully I'll see you on the next one. I've got nothing lined up, but we'll see what needs fixing. But it's time for a tidy up now and a clean up, and I'll give this mouse a good test. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you'll subscribe and share it with your friends and colleagues, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. So take care and bye bye.